Kia ora, Lara here, and we are celebrating Crafty Meggy's 8-year YouTubeversary, and she's created this gorgeous sketch here, as well as given us a list of 8 things that we had to include in our layout. So one of them was a cut file that I've just popped aside here, and one of them was patterned paper, which I've got as the base page for my layout, and I'm just going to trim the zip strip of that off here. Other one was sequins, and then there had to be some mixed media, and there had to be some doilies, and there had to be some washi tape, and I think that might have been it, but I will think of more as we go through this process video, just as I do this voiceover. So the mixed media was kind of an easy one. When you've got a gorgeous cut file like the one I'm using here from Confessions of a Paper Addict, which is nice and simple, you can go into a little bit more detail in your background. So I've got this the stencil here, which has got some lovely Scrappy type font, and I've just mixed some texture paste with some moon dust by Stickles. I think it's the moon dust one, and just adds a really gorgeous colour. And as I was making it, I was thinking, well, if unicorns did white poop, it would probably look just like this. It's got these gorgeous glittery sparkles all through it and the beautiful texture of it. So I'm just going to use the heat gun here just to try and dry a little bit of that off, and then I do go off camera and dry a little bit, let it dry for a little bit while I wash off the other tools that I'd used, and then I used the heat gun again just to make sure it was well done, because I wanted to be able to get on with this process. Sorry I haven't twisted this around, it's only a short bit anyway, but I'm just sort of placing the cut file, and I've got this really cute doily stamp, which I've had for quite a long time. So now I have popped that onto a stamping block, and I'm just going to stamp that a couple of times, and I realized it didn't make a very good impression with that first one, and while this is sort of going to be in the background and part of that mixed media background, I did want the color showing through, so I flipped my mat over, and it's got a great back for stamping. So that nice foam side is a really good way to get a good image when you stamp with it. So now I'm just sort of placing this cut file again, and again that was a cut file by Confessions of a Paper Addict, and when this video goes live there will be a new design team announced. I was on, I've been on the team for the last year, and it's been a great team to be a part of. I love using Virginia's cut files. So you can purchase them on the Etsy store, and again by the time this goes live it'll be a bit late for a sale that they've had for their birthday month. Anyway, I've just used some liquid glass to stick that down. And making sure it's stuck down in most places. I didn't go on all of the little pieces because as long as some of them will sort of have some teeth and be sticking to the layout, then that's the main thing. One of the other things we had to include was multiple photos. See, I knew I'd remember more as we went. And I have got these photos of my son and his girlfriend and his dog at the end of a walk that my husband and the 3 of them went for in Hanmer Springs a couple of weeks ago. And so each of these little photos I am just going to mount on some of this paper. Now the collection of pattern papers that I'm using is a collection called In Full Bloom, which is actually the current feature collection from Close to My Heart for this month. Just beautiful flowers, cameras, butterflies. It's a really cute collection. So some of the leaves and things that I'm going to use later on are also part of this collection. So I'm just choosing some of the pattern papers that I've got left over from this collection to back my photos, and again I do the same here. I do have another full set of this because I love it so much, so I knew that if I really didn't have enough here from these scraps I would be able to delve into the new collection that I haven't quite opened yet, but I've been very tempted to. Just love these beautiful colours. The blues and the greens are gorgeous. Anyway, enough about the papers. So I've just double mounted them on 2 different pattern papers, and I'm going to use some 3D foam tape to stick these on once I've organised the order that I wanted the photos in. So the sketch had the 2 photos at the base here. I've used 3, but I'm still meeting that multiple photos brief, and essentially using the gorgeous sketch that has been created. So just getting these stuck down with the foam tape I hope that you will take the chance to check out some of the other takes on this gorgeous sketch and see how other people have incorporated the list of elements that we needed or that we were encouraged to use when creating this layout to celebrate Crafty Meggy's time on YouTube, which reminds me I probably should see how long I've actually been creating videos for. Anyway, so that leaf that I've got there to the left, after I've sort of crinkled up the corners of all of these photos, not the corners, the sides of all of the pattern papers on these photos to add another little layer of texture. The leaf that's there is a kind of a thicker chipboard, and they're a really beautiful thickness, so they're not too thick, but they've got a nice depth to them, and the depth of colour is really strong as well. The card that I had cut the messy circles from Confessions of a Paper Addict on is also black core card, so it actually has a really nice thick layer as well, but it's not quite as thick as these nice leaves that I'm just sticking down. So these came in an embellishment sheet, and again they are part of the In Full Bloom collection too. So I'm using some green Tombow to stick them down because they are that little bit heavier. I did wonder about using some liquid glass, but the Tombow's a little bit easier to pull out. Putting the lid back on the liquid glass kind of puts me off, although I've got a really cool metal, that wee pink lid that's just there, a wee thing that goes into it so that it doesn't dry up between uses most of the time if I've got the lid on quick enough. I'm just adding on some little white acrylic hearts. These are pretty cute. I'm just sort of sticking with threes, but I'm putting 3 on each side to add a little bit of balance to the page. So some of them are sort of like heart speech bubbles, and some of them are little hearts from the center of them, or just standalone hearts, which are really cute. And you can get them in wood or in black acrylic as well, but I just quite liked bringing in a little bit of that white with the depth that I've already added with the doily stamp and the leaves and the actual cut file itself as well. So now I'm actually really liking how this sketch has brought this page about, and I am going to have to bring in some of these other elements as well, and one of them was washi tape. So I just found a roll of washi tape, and it's kind of a minty green color, but luckily it works quite nicely with this page. And now I'm going to use my sequins. So I'm using some white flower sequins. They're just sort of a leftover pack. They've been sort of rumbling around the bottom of my sort of embellishments drawer, so some of them have come off, but I'm just sticking these at some random places around the layout. Quite handy having sequins that have already got the glue dots on them. Makes that process of sticking them down a little bit simpler. So yeah, I've used a few of those, and you probably can't see them so much looking at the layout from up above. However, hopefully you'll see some of them in the close-ups at the end. Another part of the sketch was a long mini alpha title kind of thing. So I have got the sort of typewriter type font, an older stamp that I've had again for quite a while and do get lots of use out of that, and I am just going to stamp my title down the bottom. So it's basically the Hanmer Forest Walk, and I won't do all of that on camera. I'll take a little bit off so that you don't have to watch that whole painful process. Anyway, I've got my title in, and now I'm going to add a little bit of journaling over to sort of that right hand side of the layout. I've kept a lot of the embellishments and journaling and titles and all that along the bottom, so the sketch did have some bits and pieces around here such as the title and things, but I just seem to have added a few extra bits in there. Hey, thanks for joining in on viewing this video for the hop today. Please check the links below for other people who have joined in on this sketch, and here are some close-ups for you just to have a look at before you head on your way. Thank you for watching.